Okay, so starting right off today, day one, we're doing an observation activity where I'm going to really challenge you to observe what you're seeing, rationalize your thoughts, and we're going to be working on taking those observations to accurately describe to someone what you're seeing, okay, even if they weren't seeing it themselves. So the first thing I need you to do is on that paper I gave you, you're going to sketch the setup. So our first observation task is going to be describing the experimental setup, which is going to be important all year. We talk about procedures and how things need to be set up in order to run set equipment. So let's take a minute or two and just sketch out this area here. You do not need to worry about this. This is just to raise it up so you can see because of the lip here. But this setup right here is what I need you to sketch. So let's take a minute or two to do so. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect, but just give a quick sketch as to what you're seeing observation-wise in terms of the equipment. The next thing I need you to do is in your grid on the bottom, it looks like a table. You're going to be writing an observation about the big flask and the small flask in terms of what is in it. So what does it look like? What do you think it is? Why do you think it is? So now we're going to be taking any thoughts. Anyone have any ideas as to what it may be? Okay, so hearing those ideas, how could we prove it is what you think it is? Is there any ideas that you have from other science classes that maybe we can utilize here? Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to be taking some observations about some other liquids that we're going to be involving. So in that same grid, I need you to take observations about this liquid here. Okay, so this liquid, as I'm moving it around, you can kind of take some observations of it. You can make sure you have any thoughts as to what it is. Okay, so again, what it is, what does it look like, what do you think it might be, and why? Alright, so I'm going to add that into this bigger flask here, okay? Before I do, I want you just to jot down what you think might happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a dropper and a half full, okay? So not a ton of this liquid into this bigger flask, okay? So, got my bigger flask here. That's about a dropper. More, add that in as well. Alright, so what do we see? Did anything happen? Okay, so even though we might not be able to see anything visually different, do you think it is the same substance? Do you think it might have changed a little bit? Why do you think? Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to do the same type of observations about this second liquid. So ignore the yellow, that's tape, okay? But looking at this liquid right here, you're going to try to write down any observations about what it is, why you think it is that, okay? So what does it look like? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to add a few drops of this, so less than last time, only a few drops now, into that same bigger flask, okay? So and you're writing down observations as to what happened when you add it in there. So when we just added it, what do we see? I'm going to stir it around a little bit so you can see it a little bit clearer. Just going to a little bit of a mix here. Alright, so you're writing down any observations as to anything that might be different.